What's up guys, Nashti here and welcome back to my channel. For this vlog episode, we'll be rounding up the best budget gaming smartphones available in the Philippines today. So how does a smartphone qualify to this list that I'm talking about? Well, let's set some parameters. First, it should be officially released in the Philippines. Of course, that's a given. Number 2, it should be released this year, 2020. Number 3, it should run the latest version of its OS, which is Android 10 or iOS 13. Number 4, it should have a gaming-oriented chipset. Number 5, if it doesn't have a gaming-oriented chipset, it should be at least marketed as a smartphone capable of gaming. And number 6, it should not cost more than 30,000 pesos. Actually, the list that I have contains smartphone from every price bracket below 30,000 pesos. Popular gaming smartphones like Black Shark, ROG Phone, Razer Phone, Nubia Red Magic, etc. obviously won't make the cut as those cost more than 30,000 pesos. So I'm sure you're excited as I am to know which smartphones I'm talking about. Let's not wait any longer. Let's get down to business because it's about to get nasty. I now present to you the 2020 best budget gaming smartphones in the Philippines. Here we have a list of gaming processors sticking inside the smartphones we'll be looking at in the next 10 minutes. They are ranked according to Tech Centurion's smartphone processor rankings as of August 2020. The first smartphone on our list is powered by the Samsung Exynos 9611 chipset, which is the Samsung Galaxy M31. The Galaxy M31 packs a 6.4-inch Super AMOLED display of Full HD resolution protected by Gorilla Glass 3. It runs Android 10 with One UI on top and is powered by an octa-core Exynos 9611 chipset. It has 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of expandable storage. It has a quad camera setup and is capable of shooting 4K videos and has gyro EIS. It also has a 32-megapixel front camera capable of shooting 4K videos as well. It has a 6,000 mAh battery with 15 watts fast charge support. It has a USB-C port and is priced at 13,990 pesos. Going up the processor ladder, we have the MediaTek Helio G70 represented by the Realme C3. The Realme C3 sports a 6.5-inch IPS LCD of HD resolution protected by Gorilla Glass 3. It runs Android 10 with Realme UI on top and is powered by an octa-core MediaTek Helio G70 processor. It has 3 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of expandable storage. The Realme C3 has a triple rear camera setup coupled with a 5-megapixel front-facing camera. It has a 5,000 mAh battery with 10 watts fast charging support and reverse charging. It does come with the old micro USB 2.0 port, however, it's also splash resistant. Its price starts at 5,990 pesos. Going up one notch, we have the MediaTek Helio G80 and G85 processor. First, we have the Xiaomi Redmi 9. The Redmi 9 comes with a 6.53-inch IPS LCD of Full HD resolution protected by Gorilla Glass 3. It runs Android 10 with MIUI 11 on top and is powered by an octa-core MediaTek Helio G80 processor. It has 3 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of expandable storage. It has a quad rear camera setup plus an 8-megapixel front camera. It has a 5,020 mAh battery which supports 18 watts fast charging. Among its notable features is a USB-C port and an IR blaster. Its price starts at 6,990 pesos. A bit more powerful than the Redmi 9 is Xiaomi's Redmi Note 9. The Redmi Note 9 features a 6.53-inch IPS LCD of Full HD resolution protected by Gorilla Glass 3. It runs Android 10 with MIUI 11 on top and is powered by an octa-core MediaTek Helio G85 processor. It has 3 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of expandable storage. It has a quad rear camera setup coupled by a 13-megapixel front-facing camera. It packs a 5020 mAh battery with 18 watts fast charging support and 9 watts reverse charging. Among its notable features is a USB-C port, an IR blaster, and a water-repellent coating. Its price starts at 7,990 pesos. One level higher is the MediaTek Helio G90T processor as exemplified by the Realme 6. The Realme 6 comes with a 6.5-inch IPS LCD of Full HD resolution with a 90Hz refresh rate protected by Gorilla Glass 3. It runs Android 10 with Realme UI on top and is powered by an octa-core MediaTek Helio G90T processor. It has 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of expandable storage. It has a quad camera setup capable of shooting 4K videos and has gyro EIS. It also has a 16-megapixel front-facing camera. It has a 4,300 mAh battery with 30 watts fast charging support. It has a USB-C port and is priced at 11,990 pesos. Up next is the Qualcomm Snapdragon 720G processor powering the Redmi Note 9 Pro by Xiaomi. The Redmi Note 9 Pro comes with a 6.67-inch IPS LCD of Full HD resolution and protected by Gorilla Glass 5. It runs Android 10 with MIUI 11 on top and is powered by an octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 720G processor. It has 6 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of expandable storage. It has a quad camera setup capable of shooting 4K videos with gyro EIS. It also has a 16-megapixel front-facing camera. It has a 5020 mAh battery with 30 watts fast charging support. Among its notable features are USB-C, IR blaster, and NFC. Its price starts at 12,490 pesos. Also powered by the same Snapdragon chipset is the Realme 6 Pro. The Realme 6 Pro is equipped with a 6.6-inch IPS LCD of Full HD resolution and 90Hz refresh rate protected by Gorilla Glass 5. It runs Android 10 with Realme UI on top and is powered by an octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 720G processor. It has 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of expandable storage. It has a quad rear camera setup with 2x telephoto support and is also capable of shooting 4K videos, has slow motion and gyro EIS. It has a dual front camera setup as well. It has a 4,300 mAh battery with 30 watts fast charging support and also comes with a USB-C port. Its price starts at 16,990 pesos. Moving on to the Qualcomm Snapdragon 730G powering the Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Lite. The Mi Note 10 Lite comes with a 6.47-inch AMOLED display of Full HD resolution with HDR10 support protected by Gorilla Glass 5. It runs Android 10 with MIUI 11 on top and is powered by an octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 730G processor. It has 6 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of non-expandable storage. It has a quad camera setup capable of shooting 4K videos and slow motion. It also has a 16-megapixel front-facing camera. It packs a 5,260 mAh battery with 30 watts fast charging support. It has USB-C, an IR blaster, and NFC. Its price starts at 16,990 pesos. Also powered by the Snapdragon 730G is the Samsung Galaxy A71, which sports a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED display of Full HD resolution protected by Gorilla Glass 3. It runs Android 10 with One UI on top and is powered by an octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 730G processor. It has 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of expandable storage. It has a quad camera setup capable of shooting 4K videos, slow motion, and has gyro EIS. It also has a 32 megapixel front-facing camera. It packs a 4,500 mAh battery with 25 watts fast charging support. It also has USB-C and NFC. Its price starts at 22,990 pesos. Going up the processor ladder, we have the Kirin 985 5G, powering the only Huawei device on our list, which is the Nova 7 5G. The smartphone comes with a 6.53-inch OLED display of Full HD resolution. It runs Android 10 with EMUI 10 on top, but without Google Play services. It is powered by an octa-core Kirin 985 5G processor with 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of non-expandable storage. It has a quad camera setup with a 3x telephoto camera. It's also capable of shooting 4K videos, slow motion, and has gyro EIS. It has a 32 megapixel front-facing camera, also capable of shooting 4K videos. It has a 4,000 mAh battery with 40 watts fast charging support and 5 watts reverse charging support. It has no 3.5mm audio jack but has USB-C, NFC, and 5G. It retails for 23,990 pesos. Entering the flagship chipset category, we have the Snapdragon 865, powering the Xiaomi Poco F2 Pro. The Poco F2 Pro is equipped with a 6.67-inch Super AMOLED display of Full HD resolution with HDR10 Plus support and Gorilla Glass 5. It runs Android 10 with MIUI 11 on top and is powered by an octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 processor. It has 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of non-expandable storage. It has a quad camera setup capable of shooting 8K videos, 4K video, slow motion, and has gyro EIS. It also has a motorized pop-up 20 megapixel front-facing camera. It has a 4,700 mAh battery with 30 watts fast charging support. While it has no FM radio, it has USB-C, NFC, IR blaster, and 5G connectivity. Its price starts at 26,990 pesos. Last and definitely the most powerful chipset on our list is Apple's A13 Bionic, found in the iPhone SE 2020. The Apple iPhone SE 2020 comes with a 4.7-inch Retina IPS LCD of HD Plus resolution with ion-strengthened glass and oleophobic coating. It runs iOS 13 and features a hexa-core Apple A13 Bionic processor. It has 3 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of non-expandable storage. It features a single 12 megapixel primary camera with optical image stabilization, capable of shooting 4K videos and slow motion. It also has a 7 megapixel front-facing camera with gyro EIS. It has a 1,821 mAh battery with 18 watts fast charging support and wireless charging. While it has no 3.5mm audio jack, no FM radio, and comes with a proprietary Lightning connector, it has NFC and stereo speakers. Its price starts at 26,490 pesos. So the question now is, which gaming-oriented smartphone should you get? Well, it actually depends on the budget that you have. Luckily, I have here a comparison table that you can refer to. If you have a budget of more than 25,000 pesos, the Apple iPhone SE 2020 and the Xiaomi Poco F2 Pro are neck and neck on the top spot. It's basically iOS versus Android. Well, aside from that, the Xiaomi Poco F2 Pro has a larger Super AMOLED display of higher resolution. In terms of processing power, the iPhone SE 2020 wins with its A13 Bionic chipset. Both have non-expandable storage. The Poco F2 Pro has a larger battery and is faster charging. The iPhone SE 2020 has OIS and stereo speakers, while the Poco F2 Pro has 8K video capture support, a 3.5mm jack, an IR blaster, and 5G connectivity. It's also worth noting that the iPhone SE 2020 is 500 pesos cheaper than the Xiaomi Poco F2 Pro. Next, if you have a budget between 20,000 pesos and 25,000 pesos, then I suggest you consider the Samsung Galaxy A71, which comes with a large Super AMOLED display of Full HD resolution, expandable storage, a 3.5mm audio jack, and runs the latest version of Android. The only reason that I prefer this over the Huawei Nova 7 5G is the latter's lack of expandable storage, lack of Google Play services, and lack of a 3.5mm audio jack. To its defense, however, the Huawei Nova 7 5G has 5G connectivity and a more capable camera setup. If your budget falls between 15,000 pesos and 20,000 pesos, then you can try the Realme C3 Pro. Compared to the equally priced Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Lite, the Realme C3 Pro has a 90Hz display refresh rate, expandable storage, a telephoto rear camera, and a dual front-facing camera setup. The Mi Note 10 Lite counters it with an AMOLED display, a larger battery capacity, an IR blaster, and NFC. Meanwhile, if you have a budget of 10,000 to 15,000 pesos, you may want to try the Xiaomi Redmi Note 9 Pro. It has the same processor as the more expensive Realme C3 Pro. It has a large battery capacity, an IR blaster, and NFC. Physically the same smartphone as the Redmi Note 9 Pro but cheaper is the Redmi Note 9S. Priced at 10,490 pesos, the Redmi Note 9S has lower RAM, slower fast charging, no NFC, and a lower resolution main camera. Lastly, if your budget is below 10,000 pesos, then you can never go wrong with the Xiaomi Redmi Note 9, which comes with the MediaTek Helio G85 processor. Aside from that, it also has a water-repellent coating, features reverse charging, and an IR blaster. But if money is really an issue, then you can go with the Realme C3, which is an entry-level gaming-oriented smartphone. So I'm pretty sure I've overwhelmed you with the list of smartphones that I've just shown you. There's quite a lot and you have something to consider regardless of your budget or the price bracket that you're looking at. Of course, some of these smartphones may not be as powerful as, the dedicated gaming smartphones, but I still believe these smartphones have enough processing power to be able to play the most popular gaming titles in the mobile world today. So I hope you learned something from this vlog episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing and like the notification bell. Only here on the channel where Nashty is nice. I'm Nashty. Till then.